Alright guys, I am at the end of my row 8 and I am going to show you from the same point I showed you earlier. So I got my 2 V-stitches complete. So right now what we are going to do is we're going to put a double crochet right here. We are working in that top V-stitch. So we will put a double crochet and a chain 1 right here. Then we will be working inside that V-stitch. So this V-stitch will go right here in that V-stitch and a chain 1. Okay. In the next double crochet we will put a double crochet, and then in that next chain 1 space we will do a V-stitch. Okay, and you will go into that next V-stitch for a V-stitch. And to end this row we will do like we did before. We will double crochet 2 together, so go in that V-stitch and into that last space, and we will double crochet those together. Okay. So this is your row 8. Now row 9 is going to be worked exactly the same, and I'm just going to get you started on that and let you go. Alright, so the beginning of that is you're going to chain 3 like we did, and you're going to turn. Okay. So now what you're going to do, if you remember, you're going to put a double crochet in that first V-stitch. Okay. Now, you're going to have to hunt for this one. So, basically, you will have to do a V-stitch in the next V-stitch. So, if you spread those apart, you will see the next V-stitch is going to be right up here. You zoom in. So, this is your next V-stitch way up here. They're just not in the same place because you've added so many stitches. So, they're just going to be spaced out a bit more. Alright? So your V-stitch. Alright, and now you're going to skip this next double crochet, which is right here. See, this is your V-stitch. This is not the double crochet you will be skipping. It will be this double crochet here because this is part of the V-stitch. So now you're going to be working your next V-stitch right there in that chain 1 space. This is the part that I said can really mess you up if you're not sure of what you're looking for. Now this is the V-stitch we're going to be working in the double crochet, the chain 1 space, and the double crochet like before. So you want to work a double crochet and chain 1 in the top of this double crochet. Now in the center of that V-stitch you want to work a V-stitch and a chain 1. So let's get that V-stitch done. Okay, you got your V-stitch. Now you want to do the chain 1. And now in the last double crochet of that V-stitch, you want to do a double crochet only. Now in that space right next to it, which is that next chain 1 space, you're going to do like we did before and work a V-stitch only. Okay, now like we did before, in that next V-stitch, work a V-stitch. It's the same stitches, it's just the beginning ones were just a little bit further apart from each other. Okay, now we're coming back to double crochet in our 2 V-stitches together again, but these are closer together, so you're not having to reach as far for those. So let's join those up. So double crochet 2 together. So we're going to go into that first V-stitch. Okay, so we've got that part done. So you're just going to barely reach over here now, okay? So you make sure you wrap your yarn and go into the next one. And pull those 2 together. That's all you got to do. They're just right there together. Okay, so now you evaluate and find your next V-stitch, which is right there. So you're just going to go into that V-stitch and make another V-stitch like we did on the previous round. It's all the same stitch work. Okay, now you're going to find that next double crochet, which is right here, and go into that chain 1 space for the next V-stitch. Now here's that V-stitch that we're working completely in. So let's do that double crochet in the double crochet and chain 1. Now you're going to go into the center of that V-stitch and work a V-stitch and chain 1. Okay, so there's our V-stitch, and let's do our chain 1. And then we're going to work in the top of that last double crochet of that V-stitch, make our double crochet. Now in that chain 1 beside it, we're going to do a V-stitch. Okay. Skip this next double crochet and chain 1 and go into that V-stitch for a V-stitch. All the same stitch work. Okay, now you're up to doing our 2 double crochet V-stitches together again. So let's go into here, make sure you wrap first. There's one there, and then here's the next one. There we go. And then you just jump right into your next V-stitch. Okay, skip that next double crochet right there, and then go in that chain 1 for the next V-stitch. And then you're back to working this entire V-stitch again. So we're going to put a double crochet in that double crochet with the chain 1, and in the center we're going to put a V-stitch. And then a chain 1. Then in that double crochet goes another double crochet. And then in that next chain 1 space goes a V-stitch. And then in that next V-stitch right here goes a V-stitch. And then we're just going to do our 2 double crochet together again. So you're just pretty much making the same pattern. And this is what you're going to get for your rippling effect here. Okay, so finish this row, and then our 10th row we're going to do something similar to this here. Okay. And then our 10th row will be our last row, and then the 11th row is going to go back to doing this again. So finish this row and I'll be back to do our 10th row, okay? And I'll meet you back up. Guys, I am at the same place as I was on the last couple rows. We're going to finish up together. So I have done my 2 V-stitches. In this next stitch we are working now in that V-stitch, so let's do that double crochet and chain 1. Now we're going to do our V-stitch and chain 1, and then we're going to do that double crochet in top of that double crochet, and then in this next chain 1 we're going to do a V-stitch, and then we're going to jump to that V-stitch and do a V-stitch. And then we're going to have our double crochet these 2 together here. And we're not going to finish those off because we are now ready to do row 10, which we are going to join back our other color. Whatever color that you may be using, I'm going to join back my plum. Okay, you should have 3 hoops on your hook at this point, and pull that through. Separate off your other color, and I am going to tie those together. Okay, and that should finish that off. Now for row 10 you're going to chain 1. you want to turn, and this is going to be a little tricky because you're going to start working this over again. Row 10, you're going to be working in the back loops again. So you're going to chain 1, and you are going to do, you're going to single crochet in the first stitch, okay, which is what we have been doing. So do a single crochet there. You're going to skip the next double crochet, which is here, okay. Sorry, let me zoom in a bit for you. So this was the first stitch here. So you're going to skip this stitch, and let's go into the back loops again. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. The first one, just like down here, is always going to be 8. Alright, so now if you know you've done it right, you're going to end up in a V-stitch, okay? And it'll be right over the top of this one, okay? Now it's going to be like starting over. So I've got my stitch count right, so what you're going to do is you're going to now start with your 3 again. You're going to do 3 single crochet in the space, not the chain. So you're going to put 3 into that chain 1 space, okay? Sorry, I was out of the camera. So you put 3 into that chain 1 space, and then you start now with 9. So just like we did, nothing no different. So you're going to start with 9. So 1, 2, and this is where you're going to start realizing when I told you these have to be accurate. So that was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now if you did this part correctly, you will have this 1 gap space stitch here, and if you look down, back up a bit here, this stitch should be right over the peak that's pointing down, okay? That means at this point you're going to jump 1 stitch. After you've counted to 9, this stitch right here we are going to jump. So you're going to go over that stitch and start your 9. So then you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so you're back up to your peak, and I am back up to my chain 1 space, so I'm going to go in that space for 3 single crochet. So far my stitch counts are perfect. Yay. Okay, now you're going to go down again, so you're going to count 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, you should be down here where that 1 kind of wide stitch is. You're going to skip that stitch and go over to the next one for your first stitch of your 9. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, and I am now back up to the peak where my chain 1 space is, so I'm going to put 3 here. And that's as simple as this row goes. And this is what it's going to start looking like for you. Okay? And then you're just going to do that row all the way across. This is row 10. So once you get to your last peak, wait for me there, and I will show you how to finish that row up. Okay? So complete this all the way up to your last peak, and I'll join you back, guys. I have done my last 3 in that peak, so now we are going to work down our last end here. So we are going to work 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. You're only going to be working 8 because there's only 10 stitches, okay? So there's 8 here. You're going to miss this next double crochet, and it's going to be like this on every 10th row that you do. So you'll miss this next double crochet, and then this, so that was 8, and then this next double crochet, you're going to do a single crochet in that last one, okay? So now the 11th row, which is the last row, at this point you're just going to join back your other color. If you choose to change your color back, that's your choice, but it does say to join the next color. You're going to join back. This is rows rows 1 through 10. This is the foundation for this Afghan. Okay, at this point, this is going to be what you're going to repeat. You are going to repeat from rows 1 to 10, or rows 11 rather. Row 11 is going to be a repeat of row 2. Okay, so once you do row 11, this is the whole foundation for this Afghan. So this is all you're going to be doing. So you're going to row 11, you're going to do row 11 the same as row 2. Okay, so you're just going to join your next color, and you're going to do a single crochet in the back of each loop. And then you're just going to go back up, and you're going to repeat rows 2 through 11. And that it's as simple as that. You're just going to repeat the whole pattern. Change your colors as you like, or as the pattern says. I kind of did my own thing with my color changing. You can follow it, or you can even, you don't even have to read the pattern as far as the colors. You have your pattern right here. So I'm not going to go any further with the pattern. This is all you're going to do. If I go any further, I'm just going to be repeating everything that I've already done in the video. So this is it for the Crochet Ripple Afghan by Burnett Yarns. And after you have completed this Afghan, it does show you how to make the tassels. Everyone pretty much knows how to make tassels. If you don't, I have done videos on how to make tassels and things like that. You can go back and search that on my YouTube channel as well. But this is pretty much it. This is a very gorgeous pattern. I would encourage everyone to try this. It has a lot of character, and it's very beautiful. And as I said at the beginning of the video, this pattern is or this blanket Afghan is a one-person Afghan. It's also great for a baby Afghan as well, a crib Afghan. You can use it. It calls for the satin yarns in the Burnett yarn. I use Super Saver because I'm making this for just myself. It's also workable for a baby Afghan if you use the Burnett baby yarns. But have fun with it. Add lots of color to it. And you can also have a peek at mine again on my Facebook. So feel free to add me and check out my little hooks that I have that I sell there. Also, if you want to post pictures or send me pictures, feel free to do so on in my email that I post below my videos. And until the next video, guys, if you have any further questions about this pattern, feel free to email me or add me on your Facebook. Until next time, guys, I hope you enjoyed this pattern in this video, and happy hooking!